And we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, come on in. Top of the morning. Welcome, welcome. Me and Bryan Broaddus got some, I'm sorry.
Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're in the presence of a TV star.
No.
Voch Lombardi, NFL Network, East-West Shrine Game, Coverman. Let's go to the field in Voch Lombardi with Zach Wolchuk.
What's your Hey man, we did a little thing today. We did a little last minute thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for my colleague.
I appreciate
Voch Lombardi.
I appreciate you, Brian.
Did some work with some Sean Merriman's crew today.
Yeah, we got something.
Yeah,
man, gotta call. This is funny, Brian. Every time somebody calls me,
man with a camera and a microphone. Man with a camera and a microphone shows up, does a little TV work today.
Brian, it's funny. Every time somebody calls and wants me to do something, it's happened 5 times. I said, no, I'm good, man. I'm kind of busy.
Good.
And like he's my daddy or something, they go and tell Broaddus, can you talk to Voch? And then Voch called me and say, hey, listen, man. And before you know it, I'm doing the thing. This happened 5 times already. You know what I mean? It's like they come to you and tell on me. Brian, can you get Voch to come and do XYZ? Hey, man, I think you should do it.
I'm like your agent. Yeah, evidently, man. No offense to the folk that were working on it, but they needed some big time talent to come rolling in there, and you and Zach Wolchuk answered the call. I heard nothing but positivity from those folks about it. Now, again, maybe those dudes were so bad that you guys were just kind of so good to, but no, I know to a man and a lady that I talked to that, boy, you guys did some fine work. So congratulations on that, man. And carry on, my wayward son.
I appreciate you, Broaddus, and I'll tell you what, I wasn't nervous at all. I thought TV was gonna be some nervous business. I was more nervous during the draft show than the damn TV thing. So that says a lot about you and your show that you've put together for years there. So,
I'll tell you what, man, we've learned this about the draft show. You can't hide on that show.
I can hide on this little East-West. I can hide on this little broadcast here.
It's kind of like you're watching tape though, right? It's the Daniel Jeremiah.
Yeah.
We're at the Senior Bowl. Wolchuk's talking. You're talking about blocking the scheme.
The hardest part. Yeah, the hardest part was when everybody's like stretching, and we're going through walkthroughs or something. We got to talk about that. So we're going, yeah, man, Wolchuk, I'm really excited to see, this kid from Indiana, 77. I want to see what he has. So we got to do a whole bunch of
defensive tackle. Yeah, you got to vamp.
That whole thing.
Yeah.
But once
it's like a rain delay.
But once the O-line versus D-line drill started going, we made babies, Bryan Broaddus. Me and Wolchuk found the groove. He was I'm going to give you the number and the player, and I'm going to tell you what the hell is happening on screen, Brian. We was kicking their ass on that one. So that was
well, like I said, I heard nothing but rave reviews, and honestly, if you sucked at it, I'd tell you that too. But I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that. Also, congratulations, sir, and welcome to. You're already a big time media member, so what the hell am I even saying? So, geez.
So
just a man with a camera and a mic.
That's all I am.
Camera.
There's gonna be some people in the chat asking where can I go to watch it. I don't know. It was.
I think it's on NFL Network. It's on the what's my man
Lights Out. Lights Out Sports. Yeah, so download that app. It was on TV somewhere, but I ain't know. It was so last minute, Broaddus. I didn't know who these people were, so I had to figure it out on the go. But I think you can catch the replays on Lights Out Sports app. I think it's a free app you can download.
Yeah.
It's Sean Merriman's app, and you can go watch the replays.
Yeah, well, like I said, nothing but rave reviews for you, and great job on that. So. See if I can fit that head into this frame.
I'm still humble, man. I'm still humble. We good to go. Hey, look, I'm so good to go. We got 4 players to watch tonight, Bryan Broaddus.
How about that? We did watch some players.
I'm tired as hell, but we still here to work tonight, Bryan Broaddus. Here on the Doing All Right. We got
I ain't lying, I'm tired too.
hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Demetrius Knight, linebacker from South Carolina. Azie Trapillo, offensive line, Boston College, who's a Senior Bowl guy. Sebastian Castro, safety from Iowa, who's also a Senior Bowl guy. And Zy Alexander, East-West Shrine Bowl guy. Got a chance to look at him today, cornerback from LSU. Bryan, which one of these people you think I like the most?
I'm going to say you're going to probably like, boy, you got to see Alexander live. I'm going to say you're going to like Alexander first.
Nah, Bryan, no, he's not first.
Okay. How about our linebacker Knight from South Carolina?
I love me some Demetrius Knight, Bryan, bro. See, Zy Alexander, he looked good today.
Yeah.
But he was looking good at Shrine practice. This ain't like Senior Bowl practice. I seen his film. Yeah. I seen an Alabama film when they was running past him. Yeah. So we're gonna talk about him way later in the broadcast.
I thought maybe, but the fact you got some live eyes on him, things might have changed. Didn't change it all, did it?
Ain't do nothing. But boy, Bryan, I got a chance to see Demetrius Knight.
Yeah.
He's one of the bigger of the linebackers that we've watched so far.
He sure is.
240? 240 pounds, Bryan?
Yeah, it's 6'2", 245. Yeah.
Bryan, I think he has a really good feel for where the football is.
Yeah.
I think he kind of has a nose for it. I think for a linebacker, it's really hard for these guys to play sideline to sideline, be fast, but still kind of remain square to the line of scrimmage. Because sometimes if you turn and run, they can just go back the opposite way if you overrun. I think he does a decent job staying square. I think he also has a really good feel for zone coverage too, Bryan. I think when he's out there just kind of floating around, I think he has a good idea for where the quarterback is looking. So he'll float over in that direction. Something I'm starting to learn because I'm growing as a scout, Bryan, is I like when my linebackers can move sideways. We talked about that, going backwards, and we just talked about that. But Demetrius Knight, as a blitzing linebacker, I think has a lot of potential, Bryan Broaddus, because of his size and his tenacity and his ass whoop moving forward. I was really interested in that. He really blew up a lot of running backs trying to block him just from that sheer power and size advantage, Bryan. And I think he's a little stiff in the hips.
Yeah.
I don't know if he turns all that well, but he's really fast moving forward. He's really fast moving forward. And once he decides where he's going and then he turns, I think he's fast enough to get there. He's athletic enough to get there. It's just that some of this turning and running stuff, he's not the best at it. But he's probably going to be a Mike linebacker type guy. So his, the lanes that he's running in, they aren't going to be wide open like a Will linebacker would. Like a Will linebacker got a lot more running to do than him. Yeah. But I do think he has the ability to run around a little bit in a straight line. I like Demetrius Knight a bunch, Bryan Broaddus. I got a chance to watch versus Texas A&M. That was a fun little game to watch, and I watched him versus Bama. You know what I mean? So,
oh man, you picked a couple of good ones.
I'll tell you
what, man.
Go ahead.
I tell you, I think you got this kid nailed. And man, I mean, I think the thumbnail you gave on him was perfect. This kid's been to 3 schools in 6 years. Okay, Georgia Tech, Charlotte, and South Carolina to finish this thing off. He has the appearance of, to me, an old school Mike linebacker. Yeah. The big, boxy, square linebacker. But man, this guy is a downhill player. And there's times where I wasn't really sure how well he saw the ball. I watched LSU, Missouri, and Clemson were the games I watched for him. You could see there were clearly some snaps where he lost sight of the ball on a misdirection play. But he is an explosive player, though, when he does see everything. Yeah. When he gets there. I mean, he is going to thump you, and he's going to make contact. The ball carrier just stops right in his tracks. He can be disruptive, attacking the line of scrimmage. He's a powerful striker. There's some jarring hits to his game. Finishes with a thud. Plays with that, you talk about that straight line speed. He can get to the outside just in time to kind of get the ball carrier out of bounds. Plays mainly zone coverage. He's good underneath. He makes the quarterback have to throw the ball over the top of him. Plays with power, taking on blockers. He got tied up on some blocks, but not all that much. I thought he showed good leverage for the most part. You mentioned it. There is some tightness to his game. He's not the most fluid moving player. I'm not going to put him in many man coverage situations. Hardworking kid. He's already graduated. He has his own family, so he's going to be super hungry in order to take care of them. I think you're just going to get a really motivated player right off the jump at 6'2", 245.
Yeah.
I mean, he completely looks the part, but man, he looks like
17 right here.
Yeah, he looks like something that, Parcells. He looks like something Parcells would have played with in the 80s with the Giants.
Rolando McClain type character.
Yeah, big. That number 17. Yeah, you can always kind of find him with that towel.
Yeah.
But yeah, he could be a force there inside. And so yeah, I like this kid. I put him, let me make sure I have him in the right spot. I don't want to say I actually put him in the 4th round on my board.
Okay.
And I've got him behind Paul from Ole Miss.
Yep.
So Paul, Knight, both those guys like 4th round players for me as an inside linebacker.
I kind of struggle with where to put him, Brian, because a part of me, I love the size and athleticism. So I kind of wanted to put him in the 3rd behind Schlesinger.
I couldn't put him because if I put him with Schlesinger, UCLA, like Schlesinger's like he's reading, going, finding, doing, he's knifing through there, like he's reading it, he's playing in coverage, he's playing downhill, and I'm thinking, okay, then do I have Schlesinger too low? Should Schlesinger be a 2nd? And maybe that this kid Knight is a 3rd.
I think Schlesinger and Knight belong in the 3rd. I do have Paul in the 4th, and I got Campbell so far as my only 2nd round linebacker.
Yeah, I see what you're doing.
That's where I'm at with that. So, and the only reason Schlesinger's higher because I think Schlesinger's a much better athlete, and he sees it so fast, and he racks up all those tackles.
He does. Yeah. He gets to the ball and gets, but man, like this kid Knight, you just saw the clips.
Sure.
This guy is a good-looking guy on the hoof, as they used to say back in the day. He could be a force playing downhill. I like your 3rd round grade. I just maybe, like I said, because of Schlesinger, UCLA, I have him there. Sure. I'm thinking, man, if you gave me a choice of the 2, I think I'd take Schlesinger because of the athletic ability. But man, this guy's a thumper. He is a Mike linebacker, like an old school Mike linebacker.
Brian, what the hell are we going to do about our nickel corner?
When you say this.
Our nickel corner strong safety, Sebastian Castro. What are we going to do about – I just want to say this first. He ain't going to run fast.
He is not going to run fast at all.
But, boy, he can cover, Brian. He comes down and he tackles. He tackles really well. He has great form tackling.
Yeah.
I think he's really smart in zone coverage, Brian. I think he has a feel for where the ball is going. He reads the quarterback really well. He don't have a whole bunch of picks, but the picks that he make are really smart picks. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know if he has a future as a deep free safety, but just as a roaming strong kind of guy, I think he has a future here. Now, we always talk about these Brian Branch kind of guys, Bryan Broaddus. This is what I think of when I think of a Brian Branch kind of guy. He's not the athlete that Brian Branch was, but he's a guy that I can play the nickel sometimes. I can go match up with some of these some of these bigger, not quick moving guys. But for the most part, I'm gonna be a demon in the run game, strong safety. But I can get you picks in zone. I can get you picks in zone if your quarterback makes mistakes. I even see him baiting the quarterback a little bit. I'm kind of moving in one direction just to plant your foot and go in the opposite direction. I think he has some really good zone awareness. But I was really impressed by the tackles that he made. Not just coming up and just tackling the jump, but the form tackle. He doesn't miss that many tackles, Bryan Broaddus. But I think he's gonna kind of fail on some of his athletic marks or whatnot.
He's not gonna run well.
I got him in the 4th, Brian. He's a guy I got in the 4th.
Yeah, he is, and man,
I like him though.
I'm totally with you on that one. And I mean, he's 5'11", he's 205. This is a tough safety. I think he plays better around the line, the scrimmage, than he does deep.
Yeah.
And there's snaps where he was asked to play in the slot, and to his credit, he did the best he could. But I don't think that's the best use for him. He does a good job of getting on blocks, working his way to the play. There's some hit and miss reps when it comes, to some of the things that he could do, like I say, coverage wise. There's physicality. He could take on the run. He throw his body around. He will trigger downhill. He'll meet the ball carrier in the hole or off tackle. There's some stoutness to his game at 5'11", 205. He's got a little thump to him. But there's snaps where he'll take some poor angles and end up on the outside looking in. His aggressiveness will cause him to miss some plays I think he should be making.
Yep.
I wouldn't call him most athletic mover. When it's straight ahead, things are good. But when there's an adjustment, you might see a different player. I mentioned the coverage part. He's just limited in what he can pull off. His footwork was not awful, but there's some tightness in the way he turns. He doesn't have elite quickness or twitch to his game. I don't see much long speed with this guy either. I'd be surprised if he ran a good 40 time, is what I said in my notes. But I also said I wouldn't be surprised if he's playing special teams well for somebody either. So probably as you mentioned, a 4th round guy on my book too. I think the speed is he's going to run at the combine because he wants to compete and do all the drills. And it's probably going to be a 4.62.
He might even be like a 5th round guy. It's just that where we're at in the process right now, I just got him in 4th, but he might go in the 5th somewhere.
Yeah.
I like the player though. I think he'll be a really good teams dude for you.
I agree. I totally agree. And like I say, he'll be a backup dude, and you're like, you got him playing, and he's on teams. He's going to block a kick. He's going to make a big tackle. I mean, but as far as just being a safety, I could say they're not doing him any favors playing him in the slot. I don't think they are.
Bryan, why don't you tell us about Z Alexander, another character that's probably not going to run that well, but he has great length. He has great length, and he's probably a really good zone player. Tell us about Z Alexander from LSU, the corner.
Yeah, and you mentioned it when you were doing your television work today. You got to see him, and he's probably one of the better players at this East-West game. But he's lined up at both corners for the spots for the Tigers. He's a transfer from Southwestern Louisiana. He's got great length and size. He's 6'2". He's 194. He uses his length to control receivers in the press as he works down the field. He will also use his length to control and take on some blockers. I think he's a good athlete, but he doesn't appear to have much catch-up or deep speed.
Yeah.
There were 2 games where receivers were able to run right by him. You mentioned Alabama, USC, Ole Miss, Alabama. There were a couple of games where they just ran right by him, and he struggled to catch up. He could be physical in the run game. He will come forward. He tends to go low as a tackler, but manages to get the ball carrier on the ground. I do like the kid's ball skills. He had an interception that Ole Miss game as well as a pass breakup. Yeah. Locate the ball, make sure that he's able to high point it. There's some timing. There's some awareness when he breaks up passes. His size, his length, give him an advantage down the field. He is a competitive player, but he lacks speed, and it'll show up at the wrong time. There was a player, and you might remember this guy. He was in the 2022 draft. His name was Martin Emerson. Cleveland Browns took him.
Yeah,
he's got some Martin Emerson to his game.
Northwestern, like a purple school.
Yeah. And he has played both corner and safety during his career. High back pedal causes him to lose some steps, but he had 33 snaps also where he played in the slot. So big, tall, long guy. He's also showed some slot flexibility. But when I watched him play, I was thinking, gosh, this is that Martin Emerson that Cleveland took in the 3rd round, Northwestern kid. So, but he's probably not going to run a very great time when he works at the combine. I'm sure he'll work. Those LSU kids sometimes don't run at the combine unless they can really run. Yeah. In Baton Rouge, they might get him a little bit faster, but like I say, the long speed, the deep speed is going to be a little bit of an issue for him.
Alexander has traits to be a good man cover corner though. Like I love his length. He has and he looks really impressive in person too, Brian. But the great length and the ability to turn and kind of mirror a little bit. But man, it was Bam, and he kind of chased around some guys. Like he was traveling with number 1 and number 3, and they just all took turns running past him, and that kind of made me nervous. But that made me feel like he'll be a really good zone guy, because in zone, at least you got some help. You know what I mean? And you get to pass guys along a little bit. So with that length, I'm thinking like a cover 2 corner, maybe like a cover 3 kind of guy. I think that'll be good for him. I think that'll be good for him.
Yeah, I got him. I put him in the 3rd round is where I put him myself. So, but like we'll see how it all plays out there. But like I say, the speed might be a deal where. Do you have him in the 4th? Is that when you have him in the 4th, or where do you have
him? He's my last guy in the 3rd. I'm leaving it open to go to the 4th, but I just don't want to say that a lack of speed is a reason why I wouldn't draft him. It's a reason why I wouldn't play him in man coverage too much.
Yeah, but, I think so. I think you're right about that.
But he's a solid player though, so I'll take him late 3rd. But he might be a 4th guy for real. I might just move that around. And man, Brian, I was starting to get upset with my offensive lineman. Man, I thought they was letting me down a little bit. They were starting to look absolutely terrible. Trapillo ain't great.
No, Trapillo ain't great.
But he ain't as bad as Monahan, the kid from USC. He ain't as bad as Monahan.
Monahan's a struggle.
Monahan had me ready to not watch no more offensive linemen.
No more centers. You're done for the centers for the night.
Yeah. But
evidently, Woolcheck told me, is there a center you guys saw from like Salisbury or
Matthew Perry from
from Friends,
Dingleberry State or something. He from somewhere. But I got the paper around here somewhere, Brian. But yeah, he was a guy. You know me, I discriminate.
It was something Westbury, Salisbury.
I discriminate against these little bitty schools, Bryan Broaddus. From Middlebury, Thomas Perry. I said Matthew Perry. Thomas Perry from Middlebury. He was the center, and he had a rep that really jumped out to me, where he jump set to get his hands on the lineman quicker or whatever. Just get to you before you get to me, and he came off strike, ran his feet. If you look on Twitter, I'll go find the rep, Brian. They actually tagged us in the rep, and I was like, all right, school I never heard of. Look at you, little school. And he started going. He was going crazy on this character that he was up against. Let me see, screen share, bam. I'll show you, Bryan Broaddus. I'll show you on the fly. Right. That's what we're doing here. And hey man, quit all that screaming. You got your center. You got your center up here. I'm sure you can see that there. And he got in on the quick set, leaned a little bit, but
a little adjust. Oh, was that against that good defensive tackle? Was that against
Nazir Stackhouse from Georgia? Been kicking these kids' ass, Bryan Broaddus.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I figured. Yeah.
But good base started moving his feet, man. I said, all right, Middlebury or whatever the name of the school is, but. Offensive lineman were let me down until I saw that character. But Azie Trapillo, he has some really good size on him, bro. Some really good length, but I don't think he played with the power that I wanted his size to be. When I see these big guys, I want those guys to play with a little bit of power. We got to push back a little bit. But I think when he had an opportunity to move forward, I think he was a little more effective. I think he's a decent run blocker. He'll lean on guys a little bit, but I think overall his game lacked a little bit of grit. It lacked a little bit of hand usage, and it just lacked overall power for somebody that's like 6'7", 320 or something like that, Brian. So I was a little let down by him, but I didn't have him as bad as our kid Miller from Clemson and our center from USC.
Let me ask you this. This kid reminds you a little bit of Tyler Guyton?
Yeah, he probably uses his weight a little better. Tyler Guyton, his feet are so light.
You had some concerns. You had some concerns about Tyler Guyton last year at this time.
I think Guyton's a much better athlete than this kid. Guyton. Look, as much as I get on to Guyton, he's a phenomenal athlete.
No, you're absolutely right about that.
Phenomenal athlete. I don't think Monahan is this kind of athlete. I think Monahan is just big. But if you take away the athleticism, some of the warts that they have, as far as the hands and stuff and not being strong and letting dudes in your chest and striking high and missing. I do think that they share some of those problems. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I tell you what, you know me, this is my blind spot. These 6'7", 314,
Yeah.
non-strong Boston College guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is you know, this is my kryptonite right here.
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy's the starting right tackle for the Eagles. That would be the Boston College Eagles. He has played all the offensive line positions throughout his career.
Oh,
yeah, and he has the size and length with the good feet. He will end up on the ground some, but I felt like he played pretty well in space. But I hate when linemen are on the ground. God, that bothers me.
Yeah.
This guy runs and moves well. He's that guy who, I've said it before, is in my blind spot. Tackles who move well but are not always strong. So he does a great job of getting away from the line, but you'll see him hop when he's trying to stop a pass rusher. That's because he doesn't trust his strength. He's got to hop to try and set his feet.
Right.
So he anchored down that way. There's snaps where you see him sit down and others where there's that hop. But there's some snaps where he will bend at the waist and others where he plays upright and tall. He puts up a nice fight, but he'll lose sustain. Any blocks that involve movement, he could be good to go. Reach blocks, scoop blocks. He will find his way in front of the defender and he will engage his stale. But he will get engaged in his share of stalemates when it comes to run blocking. He has, the metrics will tell you, he's allowed 2 sacks in 2 seasons. He's a much better pass blocker than I think he is a run blocker, even though he kind of feel like that things with the pass, even with him hopping a little bit, maybe a little bit of lack of power, but the scoops, the reaches, I mean, those are good things for him too. I mentioned about Guyton, to his game, just kind of the way Guyton plays on the move. But this kid, Trapillo, has played far more college games and snaps than Guyton did coming out of Oklahoma.
Sure.
So if you imagine watching Guyton last year, to me, kind of, leaning on, but good athlete, good feet, length, all that stuff.
Yeah.
This is what Azie Trapillo is from Boston College.
I got him in the 4th, Brian. I got him in the 4th, right over Miller from Clemson. And
yeah,
I think that may change the more we watch. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we running out of tackles to watch. We've watched a good deal of them, but I think 4 is kind of going to be where he's at. He's kind of one of those Josh Ball type of guys, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think his feet are the same. I don't think his feet are as good as those guys. So he might be.
No, and I'm with you. I put him in the 4th round myself.
Yeah.
And, I just kind of felt like that, but I was worried because it's always, as I mentioned, it's that blind spot for me.
Yeah.
It's that every time I think, oh, well, this dude's a 4th round offensive lineman. They pick him in the 3rd.
Yeah.
And then
he's great.
And then he ends up playing really, really well. So I have to, and I've got like Ursere from Minnesota. I got in the 3rd, but damn, I'm watching somebody the other day. God dang. Who was I watching? Watching some defensive player. And my man Ursere is like leaning too far, stumbling, all that stuff. I'm like, God, okay, well, maybe I had the guy right. But yeah, I think Trapillo is I think he's a 4th round guy myself.
It's gonna be tough, Brian. It's gonna be tough because somebody's gonna call you out. I'm gonna do it. Somebody's gonna call you out when these guys end up great. But I don't think you're wrong about this one, man. Trapillo is big, but he doesn't use his bigness to his advantage.
Voch, it scares the F out of me.
Sure.
I haven't got one. I haven't gotten a Colton Miller or just
you wasn't wrong.
You
wasn't wrong about Colton Miller. Colton Miller got better. He wasn't good the first two and a half years in the league. You wasn't wrong about him. He just got better. He improved.
David Bakhtiari.
Yeah.
All those Colorado dudes. oh, lack of strength, hate those guys, lack of strength, lack of power, blah, blah, blah.
Brian O'Neill for me. Brian O'Neill for
Yeah.
me. I missed on him real big, but he turned out to be a cool player. So that's on. Yeah. Man, Brian, I appreciate going on this little journey with you, man. The next 4 guys are all Senior Bowl guys. That's
deal.
That's Ransom Bassa, Tez Johnson, and Rucker. Well, Rucker's not a Senior Bowl guy, but that's our next 4. So everybody that's following along with us, we're gonna come back Wednesday, not tomorrow, but Wednesday, and we're gonna break down these 4 players there. So I'll tell everybody tomorrow. We'll just recap everything. And Brian, I do have another homework assignment for you though, because I know you into this kind of stuff.
What do you got?
If you don't mind, because you analytic Brian now. Brian Schottenheimer in his press conference came out and he mentioned a couple things about what his offense is going to look like next year. And he mentioned tempo. He mentioned cutting down the splits, and he mentioned motion. Brian, would you just find out for our good people? And look, you can do this on the radio and .com or whatever. I just want to know here. What was the Cowboys' analytics for splits, for motion, and tempo?
Can I tell you right now? I know what it is for the.
Hell yeah.
I know what it is. They are near the bottom of the league when it comes to playing what they call condensed formations.
Yeah.
Near the bottom.
Yeah.
They have more. Their offense under McCarthy had more width than, I mean, there's teams like the 49ers, the Dolphins, the Rams. Those are condensed offenses.
Yeah.
The Cowboys they're not a condensed offense, but I wrote them down: tempo, motion, cut splits, or width. I can go through and get the exact numbers on that from my next gen buddies, and we'll see what we can talk about that. Can I do something for you real quick?
Please.
There's going to be the Cowboys are going to they're going to hire this Nick Sorensen, who is a special teams coach.
Okay.
He's going to be a special teams coach for the Cowboys. I know some people around the league that know Nick Sorensen, and so if I could just give you a little thumbnail what they told me.
Yeah.
He really good coach, really good dude. These guys that have been around him, they love being around him. He's smart. He's thoughtful. People and players in the building really like him, and he will connect with them. Okay, this is something that I think comes from maybe what Brian Schottenheimer talked about today, that he's really good with people.
Yeah.
Nick Sorensen sounds like a guy that he's known for a long time, whether it's Jacksonville, Seattle, the places Nick Sorensen. He was defensive coordinator this year for 49ers.
Yeah.
So he went and then 1 year, but didn't work out for him there. But it sounds like to me, listening to these guys talk about him as a person, is kind of like the guy that Schottenheimer's wanting to get on his staff. Those guys that are able to connect with the players and with people. So just wanted to point that out, because I knew that people are asking me, well, what do you think about this guy? And I'm like, well, let me find out. I know some people that work with this guy. Let's ask some questions.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be trying to do that. As many guys as the Cowboys sign that we don't know their coaches, I'm going to try my best to kind of get some background information about the guys for our show.
That is some dynamite insight there, Mr. Broaddus. Appreciate you and what you bring to the show there, sir.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be doing that all week. So Tuesday and Thursday, it'll be some type of Cowboy show here or there or another. And Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we're going to be breaking down players. I'm currently at 94 players. Brian might have a couple more than me. But we're all in that same range, kind of, sort of, and we're gonna keep watching guys. Well, we're gonna just keep watching guys, and we appreciate y'all for being here, tapping in with us. So I'm VOCHLONBA. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on TV also. I'm just all over the place, just everywhere. There's no telling what my next gig is gonna be.
Hey, I thought maybe you were gonna get a CBS blazer next. I mean, I thought maybe
a little button for my little jacket or something. I wanted something, but they ain't had
what
nothing.
American flag like Jim Nance wears.
Yeah, just have it on my jacket. You know what I'm saying? And Bryan Broaddus on social medias. He does fantastic work everywhere. Y'all be sure to follow him. And y'all hold it down until next time. We love y'all to pieces. All right, Crown.